feel like that's what God's calling you, it's definitely worth giving up that time to pursue Him for 5 months.
Yeah, no doubt. So, in the trainings and everything, what are the classes and studies that everybody does before they go out into the world?
Yeah, it's the schedule. Basically, it's I would say kind of similar to college. I actually never went to college, but from what I've heard,
I went for 2 semesters and I just couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I did 1 semester.
So you might know better, like if it's how similar that is.
Yeah. So you know, in college you have a schedule, you know. And
you got your hours.
Yeah, you got your hours. Yeah, and it's just like that. You have a binder that you have, and it has dates when certain things are. You have when some assignments are due. You know, they're written down. You know.
Can you fail a training?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, but most of it you don't fail from like, oh, you didn't do your homework and so you get an F.
Right.
But you more so fail when you decide I don't really want to pursue the Lord anymore. Okay. And so we've had people come through and they just didn't really have their heart in it, I guess I'd say. And then partway through their desire for it left. And so most of the time it comes from like that. It's a mutual like, hey, maybe this isn't for you. Yeah. But it's not. You're not going to fail. But like, if you're not good at school, I personally was awful at school. Yeah. I slept pretty much the whole time. So coming here, I was so nervous. Yeah. And also like just this whole thing of like, there's so many different backgrounds. Yeah. That come through YWAM. You have some that like have been Christians their whole lives. Mm-hmm. You have some that have been Christians the day they get to DTS. Which is short for Discipleship Training School. I don't know if we covered that. Right. But, yeah, so you come in, and every day it's just pursuing God. You'll have a class where each speaker has about a week. So Monday through Friday, you'll have a class where that speaker will have, will speak on, whatever they came for, like, let's say the Father, Heart of God, which is actually what they're going through this week. Mm-hmm. And so every day this week they have that class about that. But then like today, every Thursday we do like local ministry, which is where we send out teams throughout Louisville. Mm-hmm. And so you actually get an opportunity to go into the city and we work with homeless people, we work with kids, and basically our goal is just to go out and love people and share the gospel. Mm-hmm. And so that's Thursday, and then throughout the week it's a lot of class stuff, but there's actually not a ton of homework because we really just want to focus on learning what it looks like to have a relationship with God, spending time with Him and that stuff. And it's not really about like anybody can, fake their way through answering a question on a piece of paper. Okay. But it's really hard to fake your way through walking through a relationship with Jesus.
Okay. Cool. So YWAM rules and regulations, standards, things like that. What are those?
So that's one of those things where every base it's going to look different. Okay. Every base is run by some, they're independently run. So YWAM Louisville, it's one of those things where when they put the rules in place, it's one of those things that they pray about. At the start of when they start a base, and how can a student get the most out of their time here? Mm-hmm. And so one of those things which I thought was really stupid when I was in my discipleship training school was you have to be in the house by 10:30 on the weekday.
Oh, you guys have a curfew?
Not as staff.
As staff, okay. No, but as a student, yeah. And
yeah. Billy, make sure I get you out of here on time.
But yeah, the weekend is 12 o'clock, and so that's one of those things that it's really easy to look at and be like why? What's the point? Mm-hmm. But then when you look at it, you have kids coming in that like us, where we did drugs, right. And so us being out in downtown Louisville at 1 o'clock in the morning is probably not the greatest thing when we just started following Jesus.
Yeah, that's true.
Fresh, just
and also if you're staying up staying out till 2 in the morning, you're gonna be so tired, like going through your days, where you're not gonna get anything out of it.
It's like you're just kind of asking for trouble, like no matter what you're doing, if you're just always staying out till 2 a.m. and you have to like do stuff in the morning and in the day, like no matter what your job is, it's like, bro, you got no business being out until 2 a.m.
My mom would always tell me, nothing good happens after 11 o'clock.
Oh,
My mom would always tell me.
My mom says for midnight for me.
Yeah.
But so y'all, well, the students have curfew. Is there any behavior rules, anything like that? Any just
For students or
for students? Yeah, for students.
Yeah, there's
I mean, it's like obviously like don't do drugs. Obviously don't,
Yeah, there's like a no drinking policy
Okay.
For the students, and that's one of those things where, I mean, you have some people coming in believing that any amount of alcohol is wrong.
Right.
Some that say, hey, in moderation, it's okay. But for students, it's one of those things that just like with the curfew, where it's like some of those students that are coming in were alcoholics or struggle with that.
Yeah.
So it's easier for your discipleship training school to say, hey, like let's just not for this season.
Yeah, because it's like that's not why you're here.
And it's one of those things where it's like if you can't stop drinking for 5 months, then that's a different issue in and of itself.
Right.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
What about staffers? Are y'all allowed to have a drink?
Yeah.
just not in front of students.
Okay.
You can't drink with students, but if me and Brian wanted to go out and have a beer.
Yeah.
Cool. Relationships. What well, I know for if whenever I was on a mission trip or whenever, I mean, it's just like being in the workplace as well. You got to be professional about these things, but you guys are living together for at least the students anyway, for 5 months, right? So what are those regulations?
It's one of those things where there's actually no set like policy. It's one of those things that we actually talk to the school about and leave it up to them. And so the discipleship training school, that's one of those things that they cover and they'll talk to you about. And it's one where I would say they prefer, not pursuing relationships.
Yeah.
If you're pursuing a relationship, it can take away from, that in that season, it can take away from, what God wants to do and your pursuit of Him.
Because that's not why you're there.
Yeah.
Right.
But especially, after discipleship training school, like on staff, like we actually, have quite a few staff, couples now. There's actually going to be a wedding here in a couple weeks. And so that's one of those things that, when you're on staff, you're finding quite a few people who are after the same thing. You're both pursuing the Lord, and so you're going to see those couples happen. But
I would imagine something like that brings people together.
Yeah. But in your school, it's I would say more suggested not to, just because we want your focus to be on the Lord.
Okay, I feel that. What are some of the challenges that you guys have to go through with students? Just like challenges like with yourself, and then challenges with students.
Yeah, I mean, part of it's relationships.
Yeah.
So even if they agree, like, hey, let's not pursue relationships. Some way along the line, there's an attraction that forms, and then it's about guiding them through how to walk that out properly and how to walk that out in a biblical way.
Okay.
And then you have stuff like making your own food, because no one wants to be in a house full of guys, where everyone is messy, doesn't wash their clothes, and everything's thrown all over the place. So we have a standard, of having the houses clean and stuff like that. And so that's part of the challenge. Is some people came in and their mom always cleaned their room, and so they're not
You
used
find
to
out
it.
who those are pretty
Oh, yeah.
quickly, right? Yeah.
And my mom never cleaned my room, but I never cleaned my room either.
Yeah.
So-
Everyone's a mess.
So it took me actually probably 2 of the 3 years I've been here to figure out, hey, I got to keep my room clean.
Yeah.
So I was getting talked to quite a bit about that. But it's not. We try and like even with like rules and stuff, we try not to make it about like a rule. Okay, your room has to be clean, just do it. But like, what's the heart behind it?
Yeah.
And the verse like, do everything unto God. A clean room, you can clean your room for the Lord. Stuff like that. And so it's really like, what's the heart behind it? That's what we try and get out of the students. That's what we try and show them in those things like cleaning your room and those things like pursuing relationships, in a healthy way, and just really like putting the Lord first in everything we do.
Okay. Do you, Isaac? Do you find any challenges like with yourself, like as a worship leader, or just like as somebody on staff? Like now that you started, what day specifically?
Actually, today was my first day. on staff.
I almost can't even ask you this question.
But I've been leading worship at the base.
Okay.
My DTS and my SMD, I was leading.
Okay, cool. So, well then, let's talk about your time as a student then. What were the challenges that you faced as a student, like right when you got going, and then in your time overseas?
So when I first started, it was extremely hard for me because